doing? I hope you're doing well out there. I want to have a really serious conversation, and I know all of my conversations, they are very serious because repatriating back to Africa is serious, serious business. But I shared a post on my Facebook, Instagram, and throughout my social media, and it was very concerning to me, but I want to read it to you guys real quick. But it says, sources from Zambia indicate that Zambia has approved the recolonization of Africa by offering land to the Chinese national. Okay, so Zambia sells part of Victoria Falls to China. Now, and I said, where is your outrage? I said, hashtag, where is your outrage? Hashtag, let's change history. Hashtag, warriors stand up. As I live here in the Gambia, I've been seeing the way the Lebanese, the Chinese, and the Europeans, along with their child sex trafficking and human trafficking and prostitution and abuse and the disrespect that they have for the Gambians. I can see it. I feel it in the energy. But what's sad is that when we have gotten to a point where we are at war and we're seeing Mother Africa being raped, history is going to be bound to repeat itself. And we have a lot of people thinking about Liberia, and if we come back to the continent, will we have an elitist attitude? Like, I really need us to have a serious conversation about, is Africa really ready to identify as allies? Do you know your allies when you see them? I don't think you do. I don't think you do. And unfortunately, our people are bound to just repeat history and keep falling for that banana in the tailpipe thing over and over again with these colonizers. Now, what we've seen with me being in the Gambia and, you know, the outrage that was sparked over my tone and all of these things, I hope you guys are noticing the strong anti-black sentiment that's coming up as well. And in these comments, we see people saying, oh, mind your own business, you know, as if Africa is not our business. And I think that that's a part of the problem. Like, we have a lot of layers to our dysfunction as siblings and as a family. We have a dysfunction, but one of the things I see is that you don't really see us as you. And just for, you know, you guys that don't know and you keep saying that, oh, the Africans don't know, let me give you a really quick history lesson. This is from an old country girl from Birmingham, Alabama, and I just like to break things down very simply. But once upon a time, there were a whole bunch of Africans that got kidnapped from Africa and brought to America. Fast forward 500 years later, we're returning back to Africa. We back. The end. Like, and we have Africans, too many Africans, and it's not all Africans, because I appreciate a lot of the support that we get from Gambians and people that understand we are brothers and sisters. They get it. We're not talking to you guys, and if this does, you know, if it don't apply, let it fly. But we're talking to the people that seem to want to always qualify and look at us as if we're not from Africa. Like, y'all don't seem to understand that. And I've had to check many an African. And even though I've had a lot of great African friends and stuff, I've already picked it up that you qualify us. What tribe are you from? And I always check y'all on that. Like, you can't qualify me if you still worship and colonize religions. I mean, hell, that's the most disgraceful thing you could do as an African is dishonor your ancestors. Y'all don't even venerate your ancestors. See, I'm trying not to go there. Y'all look at me like I'm performing devil worship, but we are practicing our real tradition, like real African tradition, and y'all not. And that's a problem too. You don't like how awakened we are. You don't like that we identify ourselves as African. So when we come back home and see, okay, home is a red, USA, that ain't our home. And that's another problem. Like, we got split, you know, ideas on that. No, history is history. That was never our land. That wasn't our deal. So now that that house is burning down, we're coming back home to rebuild. And if home has a few issues like roaches and rats and pests, let us call it out. But what's happening is that we can't seem to identify and even agree on the open enemy. And that is going to be the demise. Now, if we allow it. Now, this time around, thankfully, we've got a lot of on-code B1 people that don't need to be, the word I use is have emotional masturbation while they're at war, meaning all the hatred that we get, I get, you know, about how I plan on doing things and how I react to seeing injustice here. The videos I made about bad business practices, and if we were more economically stable here, y'all would have to hustle and scam people. And that's not going to be good for future business. That's not going to help us create a strong economy by backbiting each other in business deals. But when we have more conversations about tone, that lets me know you like your present oppressor. Because it's, you know, if we can't identify and even agree upon what disrespect is, we just have to go ahead and call it what it is, and it's mental illness. It's cognitive dissonance. It's slave behavior. Okay, like we've run out of time. A drill sergeant is not going to be in your face in war talking about, okay, now here are the enemies. This is what the enemies are doing. Like, no, we're not going to do that. Like, we are in the middle of war. Children are being raped. We're being murdered and killed. China is recolonizing Africa. And y'all want us to have tea and cookies and cakes and sit down and have... No. When you're more outraged over someone pointing out who your open enemy is, we haven't had enough conversations about what are we going to do about this. Now, my thing is, I don't like to do all that talking. This is just one part of the revolution. We've got to talk to the troops. We've got to wake people up, you know, in a sense of wake others up that are like us and tell them they're not alone. That's really what I mean by waking up. And some people will wake up too. But I'm not trying to wake up people that's in a coma, okay? We're not trying to wake up people that feel this way. Like, yo, the post I made about Native Africans should not be able to control Africa right now and all that type of stuff. The guy at the end of that post, Lord, let me just read it because I know people. Let me just read it, Lord, because I like to have receipts. But people were in such an uproar over that post. But I'm going to read it again. And I said trigger warning. All right, trigger warning. He said, I'm convinced that native-born Africans shouldn't be in charge of Africa. They have all the resources in the world and are the poorest people in the world. They have the largest population in the world, and they are militarily, economically, and internationally weak. They have a great history and heritage, but everything was stolen from them. They've had 60-plus years of independence and have advanced very little. It's time for a change of power. It's time for the diaspora to take charge in Africa. Only the diaspora can liberate Africa from its permanent state of poverty, regression, and post-colonial white savior mentality. People were up in arms. What do you mean, take control? And we've already said, for those that are on code, you'll be the people that help us build. You kind of got this damaged goods energy like a girl from a really bad abusive relationship. And when you do get a good man to come on board and come in your life and want to help you, you still in the past. You still talking about stuff that doesn't matter and projecting fears that don't really exist. For example, yes, Africa, you're colonized. You're being disrespected. But we are that good man. And damn near, we're family coming back to help you get out of this mess. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you're looking at us as if we're wrong. And you're saying, no, he a good man. We don't need you. I don't need your help. I don't need your help. Like the movie, What's Love Got to Do with It? When Tina Turner and her friend Jackie, when she met up, and Jackie was like, Tina, why are you letting him beat you? And she was like, don't you do that, Jackie. Don't you do that. And that's the same type of hatred that we're getting. And we're saying, they want to recolonize y'all. We don't want that. And we got y'all calling us the abusers. And we're saying, you're brainwashed. That's what happened back in the States. We call those coons, Negropeans. We have Afropeans. The Afropeans are the ones that are of the mind that this ain't our business. Oh God, I've heard that so much, and that's so sick and mentally ill. No knowledge and very ignorant of their history, you know. And then we have the people that are saying, well, what are you going to do about it? And we're telling you what we're doing about it, but we can't really get anywhere. But we still will. But this is for the people that are watching that want to come back home and are being a little bit discouraged. And I'm letting them know you can still come back home, and you don't have to worry about getting all of that anti-black sentiment if you know where it comes from. We have to already know where that hatred, that jealousy, that conversation, that narrative comes from, so we know how to counter those narratives, because that is the thing that can cause any society, to go into their demise. That can cause demise anywhere. It's mishistory, misinformation, miseducation. And this is what we have all over again. And we have people that are suffering like an abused woman that ain't never had a good relationship. And when somebody good comes along, they talking to them, they telling them what they want to do, you still not listening. And you telling us to mind our own business. You're telling us that we're being disrespectful. If we're saying you must be slow as hell if you keep allowing the abuse, are you crazy? Oh, it's the way you say it with love. I don't know a more loving thing to do than to help somebody save their life. Like, that's the most loving thing we can do, is to help you get out of slavery. We have to free our chains collectively. And if we stay in this ego and senseless fight, we're going to keep falling for the banana in a tailpipe. Something else I noticed too, I did talk about, people saying go back to your country, and the strong anti-black sentiment. But another thing that I noticed was misogyny is real out here, and the jealousy amongst women is very real out here too. Jealousy amongst our people is very real. And I told you guys I was going to talk about this and touch on it. But when we're talking about the attitude of stay out, mind your own business, we also see that there is a resentment that we have skills, and this is not, Lord, if I have to keep saying this, it's sad I have to keep saying this, but this is not all Africans, because the ones that we do work with, they're very happy to collaborate. But when you do have such a skill set, and we're coming from first world with that first world skill set, mindset, and we can do things, and we have knowledge of our open enemy, we have people that are just embarrassed. They're just embarrassed, and they quite honestly get jealous at the way that we can progress. And I'm just wondering, is your self-hatred going to get in the way of your success, or do you just not give a damn about Africa? I could respect that a lot more. If you would just say, I really don't care about Africa's children, and I'd rather just keep talking about, how I think you disrespected us, when really it's other races and nationalities over here really disrespecting us and raping us. But I'd rather just act like you're disrespecting us, even though I keep seeing by your actions and by your words that you're not. Are you going to continue down that mentally unstable, emotionally low IQ road that we keep calling it out? Or are you going to kind of get on code? Well, more than likely, a lot of you guys, just like the people in the Haitian Revolution, a lot of y'all aren't going to be with us when it comes to overthrowing the oppressor. We had to identify the people that were on board, you know what I mean? Boukman, Toussaint Louverture, Dessalines. They had to ask, before we get to capping, who's on board, who ain't? And the people that weren't, they got rid of them. That's just what it was. Now, what I'm suggesting is we just don't need to collaborate with you. We need to identify who you are, though. We need to let people know there is going to be a strong backlash when you come to Mama Africa. There's going to be backlash against you, your nationality, all of those things, and it's going to be a big deflection game. Now, I'm giving you some real game coming to the continent. And yes, I don't mind somebody thinking about me as a drill sergeant, because we're in the middle of war and it ain't even all that cute anyway. A lot of women and men, you already know, it's like modern day slavery right now, going to be maids, right? Going to be babysitters, and they get caught up. People selling their organs, they getting abused, tortured. I see pictures and, y'all see those pictures of people in Libya and all over Africa, modern day slavery right now. People that went to Belgium and different places for a better opportunity, and they being abused. I saw a lady in Ghana, y'all probably saw that viral video of her making a tearful request. She's pleading for her life. She want to come back home to Ghana, and she was in the Netherlands or someplace like that, or Ireland, some European country, and she's begging to come back home. They have to leave because they're trying to get it popping. They don't have no economic opportunities, but we're here. We've got properties. We're getting transitional housing for repats. And as we've been here for years, working with Kwesi, people on the ground, he's trained over 50 Gambians with real organizational and leadership skills, put them on board of directors. Y'all see who's helping us with the properties behind the scenes, people in front of the scenes that's decorating but we want to not look at that no, we can't, we're not going to play this delusional game anymore. We're going to look at things and call a thing and call it what it is. If you jealous, just say you jealous. But honey, we cannot allow you to just misdirect the conversation. We need to deal with the jealousy. We need to heal as a people. We need to deal with the trauma. We're traumatized. You got people that have animosity because of our American gene and background, and we want the culture of Africa. Like, we're going to have to make sense out of this. And I really appreciate the people that get this. It makes me so excited. It makes me so excited because we're going to have such a good time here building and, just employing each other, employing Gambians, like keeping it moving because when things are this great, when you have a movement, you're definitely going to have pushback. Expect the pushback, but this is moving forward. We always have to move forward. I appreciate all of you guys' support. The webinar is going to be lit. We're going to be talking about businesses and housing in the Gambia and how you can really cut your housing costs, your living expenses, people that are seniors, retirees, people that are traveling solo. Definitely get into the Black Repack group. Look in the video description. I'm going to give you guys the link. And our slots are filling fast for the webinar. It's going to be another packed house. That's July 5th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But I did want to be, just get in front of you guys really quick and have this conversation because even if we're cleaning, coming back home, let's not romanticize coming back to Africa. We're coming back to home dysfunction too, but we're coming back home. It doesn't take away from the beauty of coming back home. It doesn't take away from the beauty of the people, but this will definitely help us connect a lot better if we just put it out there. We just got to put it out there and say, look, sis, I don't want no hatred energy from the women and the Gambia and Africa. Like, we need to be able to just talk about it and say what it is that we experience, because what I've learned and what I'm seeing here is, as far as the bad business practices, the sex tourism, all those things, I'm not the only one that's seen it. I'm not the only one that's outraged. And that is the beginning of change. It's the conversation. It's the conversation. I'm so happy that so many of us are having this conversation. I see y'all out there going to bat for me. Just know that this train is moving forward. Nothing's going to stop destiny. And as long as we keep our energy in the right direction and not get distracted, that's the way we can honor our ancestors. That's the way that we can change history. And the only people that are really going to change history are the warriors anyway. We have a lot of people that are just afraid, for the movement, afraid that it's going to be sabotaged. And, this is how we know that it will not. This is how we can ensure that it will not be sabotaged, so that we can just call these things out in the beginning so people will know what it is. Because it's a mental game. We have real agendas at work to stop this. You better know that. There are real agendas at work to stop this. And there are some of us that get off course, but there are a lot of you guys that are clear. And I'll always say again, if you are B1 and you understand this system, if you study the likes of TN, PBT, and TBA, you understand what being on code is. And I see more and more B1 people. So I know you really B1 if you know what I meant by all of that. So make sure you drop down in the comments and tell me that. If you have any questions about coming to the webinar, send me an email at artcathy@gmail.com. One of our virtual assistants will make sure that we can get you a slot. You'll be sent the link for the private group on Facebook on July 4th. You'll be sent the link 24 hours before the webinar. So since the slots are filling up, we're going to close it on July 4th through RSVP. So make sure you're in there. I love talking with everybody from all over. And I love what's happening as far as us coming together. We're going to have a really great community, and we have to vet. These filters are real, boo. We have to filter, we have to vet, because again, this is the new society that we're creating, and this is the way that we kind of turn and change directions, okay? So that's all I got. I don't have any more. I think I went over all my points. So y'all see my my notebook is so cute. It's so cute. I love you guys so much, and I'll be doing I'll be going live very soon to just continue the conversation around jealousy, because it's very toxic. Women, I like to talk about it from a woman's perspective, and women, we're very powerful. A nation can rise no higher than its women, and when we don't deal with our toxicity as a collective and as a sisterhood, we're really shooting ourselves in the foot, and we can't go forward, because again, we are the ones that can come together and really be powerful. Like, for example, like I was thinking, just even around polygamy, polyandry, like all of those alternative families, and that conversation as a whole. Like, we don't have to be uncomfortable with that. We should be, as women, and this is the way it was originally, right? Like the ancestral days, back in the old days, but this is how it was originally, traditionally. It was a matriarchy. You know, like they decided, that's who ran the whole polygamous, you know, family. That's who decided that. And so it was the women's choice. So I think we can have a more empowered conversation as women if we take back control of the conversation. You know what I mean? We have to take back control of the conversation and talk about why it makes us uncomfortable. Like, we need to be able to pick up the phone and be like, girl, you know what? I felt jealous. You know what I mean? I was a little bit, you know, unstable. I didn't feel, you know what I mean? Like, we need to be able to talk like that to each other as women. When we can talk like that, we can get somewhere. And there are a class of women that I'm seeing out here that are over it. Y'all are over the jealousy. You know what I mean? You're tired of animosity. You want to build family. You know this sisterhood can really be greater than what it is. Those are the people, and you definitely need to join the womb school. I'm so proud of the womb school. We have definitely grown. We have so many members. There's a wellness library. You can learn things. We have a lot of classes that go on, and you have an opportunity to connect with other sisters, get an accountability partner, and so much more. And this is an African-centered environment. No white women, no, you know, people that's confused and not really sure. It's only for African and Black women only. So the womb school is for women that are awake. And we want to, we want to live life differently. We want a higher quality of life. We don't have to fight each other forever. And there is so much success on the other side of that for us when we get it together as a sisterhood. It is so powerful what we can do together as a sisterhood and as a people. So this message was really about unification. You know, don't allow anybody to throw a wrench in the conversation and make it seem like it's divisive. Right? You know, and that's something else that's being thrown out there. This conversation alone is divisive. It's not divisive when we talk about who the open enemy is. But if we're infighting, that's where the division comes in. We need to direct the gun that way, not this way. All right? I hope that made sense. And thank you guys for your support. Be sure to like and subscribe.